All right, we are going to learn today how to create a cool text created image of really whatever you like, but today we're going to learn how to make a bee. Now, the first thing that you need to do when you're starting this project is to kind of simplify whatever image you're trying to create. So for example, for this bee, we have the bee divided into basically about three shapes. We have the wing shape, and it's repeated, and it's kind of this very basic, almost football shape. We have the body shape, and then we have the head shape that's a simple circle. So you want to try to find or think of something to create that's going to be rather simple and something that you can create by using simple shapes. So once you have an idea for how you want the shapes of whatever object you're portraying to come together, then you can start having fun with the text. So let's go into a blank document here, and I'll show you how you can start getting this together. You're going to start with the text tool. And instead of drawing a text box, because we're going to warp this text, we actually want to just click into our document somewhere. And I'm going to set it to Arial because that's a nice simple font to start with. And I'm just going to type B because I've decided that I want to have the bee kind of act like a stinger for my actual bee. So once you have that, you can highlight it either with your text tool here or by double clicking in the T in your layer. And then you're going to go to Edit, Transform, Warp. And it doesn't really do anything right away. What you want to do is go to this area where it says None up here at the menu and go down and pick some way that you would like to warp that particular letter. So we kind of want it to point, so maybe we do a shell lower. And this is what we end up with. And you have a little box here that you can drag out with your cursor so that your bee gets a little bit more distorted, but we don't, at least I don't want it quite that distorted. So maybe something like that. All right, once you get it where you like, hit return. Then we can go up into our move tool. Make sure our show transform controls is checked up here. And then you can stretch this out if you want. Maybe stretch it a little bit this way too. So you're just kind of moving it to be what you want. You can also rotate it by just hovering outside of the corners here until you get that little angular arrow and then move it around. You can click in the box itself and move it to where you want to. So maybe something like that. All right, once you get it where you want, again, hit return. We go into our text tool now. We can start with our E's for our B. So I'm going to click into any area where I don't already have something and then type EE. So you can probably imagine what we're going to do next. We're going to go up to Edit. And I just realized you can't see that in this screen, but I'm going up to, oh, sorry, actually you want to double click on your T in your layer to select that first. Then go to Edit, Transform, Warp. Choose up here how you would like to warp it. I think for our E's we're going to do a bulge. So there we go. And that actually looks pretty good, so I'm going to hit return. Go up to my move tool. Hold the shift key down when you move this out to the side, when you enlarge it. If you would like to keep the proportion, if you don't want to keep the proportion, you can just move it around. If you hit the shift key again, it'll bring it back to its proportional place. Angle this and move it down. So now my B is a bit small, so I can go back into the B and enlarge that out. Maybe angle it a bit more so that the end of that B actually looks like a stinger. So that's a good start. Now we've got the body, the stinger, and now we're going to create the head. And we do that by clicking in the shape tool, but you want to make sure if you look at the menu up here, you'll notice that there are 3 different types of shapes you can create. And you want to create a path-based shape, so you can see that the little path title pops up there, and it looks like the pen tool inside of a square. So click on that and then select your ellipse tool. All right. Now here's a little tip. If you click and then hit Shift and Option, your circle will pull out from the center. You do need to hit Shift no matter what you're doing so that you get a nice perfect circle here. Okay, and that looks pretty good, so I'm going to stop there. And now I can go into my text tool and I can start to type around this. Now I can type around this or inside of this. You'll notice that if I put my cursor here on the edge, I get a little squiggly line. And if I click now, my text will go all around the edge of this circle. If I go inside of the circle, I'll get a little dotted line on either side of my cursor, and that shows that I can click in there and type inside of the circle. But we're going to go around, so go ahead and click here. And we're at a pretty large font now, so let's take it down to about 18. And just try some different fonts here. Have fun with it. Now, when we do get to an area where the antennas might be, let's see if, actually I'm going to change that to a smaller font. When we get to an area where the antennas might be, you want to use a particular type of script that's going to have a large B, or at least a B that can be used as an antenna. If it doesn't, you can up the size there and then maybe down the size of the E's. Go back to 18. Let's go here. Zapfino is a really good font for the B antenna. So, and actually I'm getting a little bit off here, so maybe I'll start with the Zapfino here on this edge. I feel like his antenna should be more over here. So, and actually I'm going to go and make this a little bit larger, 24, and then take the E's back down to 18. Okay, then go maybe back into another font here, or something in between, and then another antenna. And maybe I'll just go back to Zapfino, because that's a pretty nice font for the antenna. All right. Oop. Take those E's down to 18 again. All right, for the rest of it, you're just going to kind of find fonts that you think are interesting. For the sake of time, I'm just going to randomly choose some here, not putting a lot of thought into this. All right, that's pretty good. Actually, put a space in there. Okay. So once you have this the way that you like it, you can actually go into your Move tool, and if you need to space it up or even rotate it, as long as you have the Show Transform Controls part clicked, you can go ahead and do that, and then hit Return once you get it to where you like it. All right, so now we're ready for the wings. So if we go into our text tool, we can click here and type B. And actually, the font that I used is not a font I'd normally like to use, but I used Hobo for the wings before because it actually looks really nice when you use the correct warp with it. So it's kind of a rounded font, so it works well for those wings. So I'm going to go into Edit, Transform. Oh, I'm in the wrong layer actually. I want to double click in my B layer here so that I get this highlighted, and then go into Edit, Transform, and Warp. Go up here and I'm going to select Shell Upper, and I get this nice kind of rounded look here. And I like the way that looks, so I'm going to hit Return and then go into my Move tool and expand it up. I hit the Shift key and I pull that wing all the way up. I want it a little bit larger than that. That looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to go into my layers, Control click. Oh, actually, I need to hit Return first to tell my computer that that's actually where I want it and how I want it. And then I'm going to go into my B layer over here, the wing layer, and I'm going to go Control, click, and then Duplicate Layer. Okay, so now I have a duplicate layer right here, and I can go into the Move tool and move that around. Now, the only problem with this, right now it looks all right, but if I want to add any color to this copy that I created is going to be over the front wing, and that doesn't really work. So I'm going to hit Return to tell Photoshop that's where I want it, and then take this layer and just drag it down underneath the other one. So there you go. And if you want to add color to this, you can double click in there and then just go in and select a color. If you want kind of a dark gray in the back and then maybe a lighter gray in the front. Maybe not that light. There we go. Okay, so now the only thing that's left is to paint our yellow stripes onto our B, which seems like it would be simple, but a lot of people don't know how to do this because they don't know how to paint perfectly inside of the B, and there's a really simple trick. So if you click into your layer and you hit Command click on the T, you'll notice that now just this B is selected. So if I go in to my foreground tool now and select a pretty gold color, and then go into my paintbrush. When you click on this, it'll say that it needs to be rasterized. Just hit OK. And then I can go in and paint, and the only area that's going to paint is the area that is selected here. So even if I get a little crazy with my brush, it's not actually painting any of the other parts of this. So once I get it the way I like it, then I can just move on to my E's. So find your E layer and do the same thing, hit Command, click, and now your E's are selected. And again, you're going to have this little pop-up, just hit OK, and then go in and paint your stripes in. And once you're done, if you go into any selection tool and hit Control click, you can deselect then. And there you go. That is how you make a text-based image. We used our path on a shape here to draw a nice circle to put our text on. We used our warp tool, and we used some painting techniques to give it a little bit more kapow. So have fun, create your own, experiment, and that's it. Thanks a lot.